Ladies and gentlemen, g'day fellas. Welcome to game number 1 of TheViper versus Liereyy. We've gone through a little bit of a difficult start here, but we're going to try and make things work. I do apologize for it, but we can already see Viper, who spawns in the north of the map in the color blue, going to be playing the Mongols here, spawning in and heavily on wood, Mitoe.
Yeah, and he's got a really nice spawn here, actually, with the gold mine right next to his town center. Actually, we were talking about how he might not do a tower rush or something like that, but this is kind of the perfect start if you want to go for that. You get to save the 100 wood on the Gare later. The barracks is so much cheaper now. So I actually really expect him to try and go for that, since he's not mining gold right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Obviously, the other alternative is pastures. He's got access to the pasture, an expensive economic unit, and you can see he is moving out now. Going to be dropping down that pasture on the Uvu. Obviously, that does reduce the training time of those sheep. But let's take a look on the other side of the map, because we've got a new up-and-comer. It is in the red, playing as the French, Liereyy, who is coming in hot from the Age of Empires 2 community. He has said that he's looking to play Age of Empires 4. He's looking to try and see exactly how he can make ends meet over here. You can see he's got a couple of scouts out already. Looks like I think it's quite standard to open up with 2 scouts as the French. Would you agree with that, Mitoe?
Yeah, absolutely. The 2 scouts it slows down your age up just a little bit, but in exchange you get a lot more sheep. You get to delay your farm transition a lot longer. You don't have to think about those hunts or berries as early, and you deny these sheep from your opponent as well. Which means that, you know, maybe Viper has to build some extra pastures earlier or something like that, or move out to hunts a little bit earlier, expose his villagers. So the second scout really makes a lot of sense. In addition, you know, you get the flexibility of being able to scout your opponent a little bit more freely, find out what's going on, and also gives you a little bit more wiggle room in terms of, like, if your opponent tries to tower rush you, you've got 2 units to try and defend now, or 2 units to, like, harass a gold mine or an Ovu or something.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And we see him now beginning to move out towards the enemy base. So Liereyy beginning to scout out exactly what is going on up in Viper's base. And over in Viper's base, we can see that he's collected a huge amount of sheep already from the Khan, and he's managed to take out a sheep from his enemy as well. So there was a little bit of an engagement earlier on where he actually managed to take that one out. All right, fellas, I'm going to try and improvise a little bit here. I apologize if that happened, but you now will not have a clock, so hopefully that will all be fixed up. The clock is all covered up, so you're not going to know how long this game goes for, but just remember, we'll always catch up when these guys do eventually finish their game. You know, Viper, he likes to take a little bit of a break, likes to stretch the legs after he finishes his game, so we'll see how he goes. But now going to be harassing the villagers. There's 4 villagers on gold. To you, does that indicate any plans coming out from Liereyy? You know, is that a potential just a standard night opening? Is that a professional scouts? What do you think that's going to be, Mitoe?
Yeah, this definitely seems like a night opening to me. There's no mill yet, so there's not going to be any wheelbarrow going down right away or any professional scouts or anything like that, it looks like. So this definitely signals a night opening to me. He's got the scout on the other side of the map trying to find Viper's resources where he can maybe harass. Now, the one problem with this night opening this game, as we've kind of already talked about, is Viper's got that gold mine right underneath his town center. And that's normally the place you want to be attacking with knights early on, because that's a little bit further away from the town center and harder to defend, but that's not going to be the case for Liereyy this game.
So Viper having a really decent spawn here as well, also going for the early Gur, which to me indicates that he's probably thinking about going for a wheelbarrow himself. Is that what you would see, or is that what you would suspect when you see a Gur coming out like that?
Yeah, I think that's... I can't see why else he would make it unless he wants to move it to this hunt later. I mean, I guess it's going to help him with his wood income a little bit too, a little bit less walk time, but yeah, he's still collecting gold, so I think the wheelbarrow makes a lot of sense.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a pretty decent move, but Liereyy now reaching the second age. We'll be checking in with him and seeing how he's doing. So it doesn't look like we've got any knights coming out so far. It is going to be a professional scout opening coming through there. That Discord noise that you guys would have heard, I'm suspecting it's Liereyy who's come back in, and he has informed us that he's fixed it. I think for the moment we might just stick with this overlay, and then we might think about it in the second game. But until then, I guess we just hang out. But we now see a knight also coming through for Liereyy here. Over on the other side... Oh, I was going to say,
sorry.
over on the other side, we've got the Deer Stones about to come up from Viper. What do you think the best approach to that night opening is? Is it an early barracks? Is it Mangadai from the archery range?
Well, it looks like Viper's answered that question already with the... I can't quite tell it building the archery range. So it is going to be an archery range coming down. And yeah, I guess it's got to be Mangadai, right? With this golden food that he's stacking, and he's not really gathering a lot of wood, so it looks like that is going to be the option. And that makes sense. The knights are a little bit slower than horsemen. So like the Mangadai can kind of kite them forever as they can shoot while they're moving and stuff like that. Also gives you a lot of harassment potential.
Yeah, and we now see it is going to be Mangadai coming through, so you can see the two of them at the moment currently being trained. 13 seconds to go. Village are going to have to get pulled in this current position. The sheep going to be falling back as well. But now we see that the Khan going to be trying its best just to screen for the villager. Villager got to be careful. Obviously, the Deer Stones here also going to be providing that movement speed bonus. Now the Mangadai going to be coming out capable of defending this position. How much damage is actually coming through? There's 3 ranged armor together with the 7 damage. So only doing 4 damage an arrow. A little bit of a tickle there, wouldn't you say, Mitoe?
Yeah, but that knight is not going to be having an easy time escaping. But the second knight will drive those away. And actually, Liereyy just going to be going in here.
Yeah, Liereyy really committing at this point. Obviously, he's also got access to the French knights as well. So even in, worst case scenario, he just keeps this this knight alive and just tries to fall back. But now we can actually see Viper going to be pushing out and Liereyy doing a little bit of a tactical charge, forcing back those Mangadai. He might actually have to give up one of these Royal Knights.
Yeah, that looks like it might be the case. But that knight has a lot of HP. Actually, I think it's going to be able to easily get back to the town center in time. And another knight coming from that stealth forest just to drive them away. Actually, one Mangadai almost getting caught there.
And now we actually see he's going to put down that movement speed arrow. Now beginning to chase away the enemy Royal Knight. Royal Knight probably going to go down. It does manage to go into the stealth forest. Obviously, the Khan, being a scout, is going to have that little bit of extra line of sight. And you can see he's coming back. He's got 18 health on it, a couple of archers. He might be able to save it, and indeed he does. So Liereyy already some very impressive micro coming out in the early stages of the very first game here. All right, well, we might have a little bit of downtime right here. So while players are currently just in downtime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch us over. Hopefully this works, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize in advance if it doesn't. Give me a second here. All right, here we go. I don't know if that worked. Doesn't look like that worked, sorry. We're trying to switch it over back to the... We're trying to switch it back over to the main broadcast, or the Liereyy broadcast. I'm going to try and get that one in for you guys. Give us a second here. All right, there we go. We're back in. All right, we've now got that broadcast up. All right, are you able to see that one, Mitoe?
I am now, yeah. We are in with the overlay. We've got all the information now, all the cards, and it's looking good.
All right. Well, hopefully it should all be good now. That makes me feel a lot better. The time block has now been removed as well, so we are all good to go. Yeah. Oof. I tell you what, that was a little bit tricky, but I think we got there. We got there in the end, Mitoe. We did well.
We did, yeah. And these Mangadai now forcing the scouts away from the hunt, so Lierey's going to have a hard time bringing those in. He's going to have to replace those scouts, probably. I don't think there's really much chance that they escape here. At the same time, Liereyy kind of sneaking around the side, trying to find an angle to raid, but all the economy for Viper is just really safe and centralized underneath the town center. And now Viper even trying to go up to the castle age.
Yeah, this is really something that's been happening quite a fair bit with the Mongols. It's just almost impossible to actually do some early damage to them. It's only after they get more than 20 villagers that you can actually do damage to them, because they can't fit any more villagers in their town center. So we'll have to see how Liereyy goes with that. But as you mentioned, all of the resources just stacked so safely underneath the town center.
Yep, and Liereyy also going to be saving to age himself. In the meantime, Viper's even feeling comfortable enough to go for these towers, but he's losing a villager on the wood line. 2 villagers actually go down. That's a really nice pickup for Liereyy.
Yeah, really good pickup for Liereyy. And now we see that villager on the front line also goes down. So Viper trying to do a little bit of an advanced push with those outposts. One of the things Viper loves to do when he's playing as the Mongols is to get these outposts down and get the springald emplacement on them. Viper now reaching up to the next age. I suspect you'll probably see a whole bunch of springald emplacements in the production queue any second. He absolutely loves doing that stuff.
Yeah, springald emplacements are very strong. Also, just getting that YAM network for those Mangadai. And now dropping a barracks, 2 barracks actually, and probably getting that improved siege engineering. Yep, there it is. And we're going to be seeing some man-at-arms and spearmen potentially, and then some springalds and mangonels probably coming out from Viper.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see how it unfolds. So going into an infantry-based composition here, what are your thoughts on that? Because one of the things that we typically see out of Mongols is a switch into lancers in the castle age. Do you think it's the right decision in this situation to be going for the barracks?
I think it's fine. I mean, he could be going for lancers right now, but it wouldn't give him as much pushing potential, right, as extra siege weapons would. Mongols, of course, with that improved siege engineering, they can also construct the trebuchet, which can give you just a lot of pressure as you slow push the opponent's front part of the base. And really, like, I don't think that there's any reason he would need the knights right now. I mean, there's a lot of archers out, but a mangonel can deal with those archers just as well as the knights can.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We've actually seen a huge amount of archery rangers actually dropped down for the Viper on the back line. So I think he's up to 3 archery rangers at the moment. And just the single barracks for now. So if we take a look on the Uvu, you can see, yeah. Oh, so it's the double archery range and double barracks that it's going to be coming out. So he's gone for 2 and 2 here. So it looks like it's probably just going to be a man-at-arm and crossbow play, which seems to be very common as well. A lot of civilizations seem to be doing this. But another raid coming back on the gold mine. Take a look at this, Mitoe.
These are some really nice raids for Liereyy. Even though all those villas are so close to the town center, he's still able to pick up these villas with those charges. The knights doing a lot of extra damage there. And that's going to be pretty annoying for Viper, as he has to keep positioning his villagers on the other side of that gold mine to get the benefit from the step out. He can't keep them directly next to the town center to keep them nice and safe. And Lierey's just going to keep poking away at that as the game goes on.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Now we see that forward mangonel getting put down. You mentioned that earlier, so no real surprise for that coming through. One of the strongest technologies in the game is that improved siege engineering. So at the moment, you can see that Liereyy is really starting to pull ahead when it comes to the villager count. He's up 45 villagers right now compared to Viper, who's sitting on 36. Now, obviously, there's a few caveats to that. Viper's got the pastures that are going to be giving him that higher form of food income, but now we do see that Liereyy is moving over to his farms as well.
Yeah, and this is potentially actually going to be a good window for the Viper. Anytime you want to switch to farms, is going to be a good timing for Mongols in this situation. They already have their pasture infrastructure set up, and actually some Mangadai getting caught in the stealth forest here.
Yeah, these Mangadai are definitely out of position. The Khan might be able to make it out of there with its life. You can see the health dropping on that to almost 100 health. Losing a lot of Mangadai there. Liereyy looking incredibly strong. Now beginning to push out. At the same time, a little bit of a push down towards the south. Mangonel going to be unfolding down on that outpost. 5 villages stacked inside of it. We could see that the men-at-arms were up there as well, but continuing now just to rain down terror upon the base of Liereyy. He's going to have to bring those forces back.
Yeah, they are on the way home. It made a lot of sense, though, for him to push at the time, right? Like, you can kind of expect that Mongols might not be switching into cavalry. You'd already seen archery ranges and stuff like that. And you know these archers probably aren't going to be as vulnerable because Mongols likes to go for this slower infantry siege composition. But this Mangonel might be a little bit out of position. Nope, Lierey's not going to commit to that. Archers are also almost home. And yeah, he's going to have to find some way to deal with this. He can just abandon this gold mine. He does have another one on the other side. It looks like that is potentially where he's going to go. So he's not in a lot of trouble just yet. He's just going to bide his time, set up that military, and then try to snipe these siege weapons when they're out of position.
Yeah, a super smart move. We can see those knight numbers now beginning to increase for Liereyy as well. He's slightly ahead on the military population count, but not a huge amount. But at this point in time, I think Viper's going to be particularly careful of over-investing in that siege, because obviously with Liereyy continuing to add in more knights, it's obviously going to make a very potent potential counter-attack, which we now see coming down. You can see the Springald emplacement also just doing work as those units run past. More Springald emplacements up towards the base of Viper as well. He's really looking prepared. We'll take a look at the guild hall. I'm curious what resources it's actually got on it. We see the villagers potentially going to go down here as they try. Guild hall is currently sitting on food. 600 food in the bank at the moment for Liereyy. So that is a huge amount of food. What do you think his plan is to do with all of that food there, Mitoe?
I think it's probably just to cover his macro when this hunt runs out in the south, right? Like He's got to set up farms, but he can't really... He doesn't really want to halt his food production and stuff like that when he does that. So as soon as that hunt runs out, all these villagers are going to move to wood or gold, and then he can grab the food from the guild hall there, and he'll be able to keep making units.
Right, okay, it makes perfect sense. So covering both bases. And now those mangonels really looking to do some damage here. Still yet to add any real siege here in the form of, you know, building destroyers. No rams, no trebuchets at this stage, but the mangonels still seem to do pretty effectively against those buildings.
Yep, it's definitely a slow push, but it's one where these mangonels are always going to commit to the fight, whereas a couple trebuchets are not always going to be as useful when your opponent actually goes in. So Viper just content to bide his time here. A really nice mangonel shot killing a few archers there. And the Springald also getting taken out for Liereyy.
Yeah, so Liereyy in a bit of a difficult spot here. Obviously, the siege is always able to be produced on the field for the Mongol player, which makes it very difficult because they're taking the resources that they're gathering right now and they're investing it into siege that they're making right now. And so you get a very quick turnaround, whereas with Liereyy, every single, you know, he might chop the wood, but then he's got to wait the 35 seconds or the 40 seconds for the Springald or the Mangonel to come out. And still it sits in queue at the moment, and in that same time, Viper's just, you know, very typically made 2 Springalds, and he's ready, waiting for his enemy Springalds to come out. But a bit of a force now coming through. You can see the huge amount of knights going to be running through here, looking to actually enclose upon the enemy forces. He's going to have to fall back in this position. Looks like the Springald is going to be able to try and do a bit of trading. He gets the first one. Liereyy doing some decent micro. Needs to pull villagers to heal this Springald up. The knights on the front line going to be looking to screen here, but unfortunately there's so many spears pushing through for Viper. Viper looking incredibly strong right now, Mitoe.
Yeah, this push is really, really strong. There's nothing to deal with the mangonels in the back, and the archers starting to windle. They're not very effective against the men-at-arms here. And yeah, Lierey's going to be forced all the way back. And now he's in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a hard spot because you're sitting, or your enemy is sitting right on top of your siege workshop, which is what you need to have somewhere freely so that you can actually get your Springald out. And we can see now the Springald just going to be going down to the mangonels. Never an exchange that you really want to be on the end of. It's a feels bad, man.
It is indeed. That siege workshop is going to be going down soon. Well, Lierey's committing, actually. There's not a lot of units here, actually, to defend the mangonels, but there's not a lot of knights, either. He might get one mangonel here. Just gets one at the end there.
And now we see the units trickling in from the wood line. And Liereyy definitely not looking good at this point in time. Viper with man-at-arms sitting on that wood line. You can see the villager count still relatively high for Liereyy, though it is dropping down 54, 53, now down to 52. 51 villagers, so he is losing villagers very quickly and at the same time being sieged down towards the south. Viper's managed to even up the villager count at this point and still more than 3 times ahead in the military count. Now a little bit of a movement over towards the east side of the map. Viper potentially looking for any villagers that might be exposed out towards that position. The Khan going to be scouting around as well. And yeah,
spotting nearly 30 villagers there. And yeah, Viper is going to be pushing towards that with these units. And Liereyy is really going to have to find an answer to this. He might have to try and like sacrifice some villagers, but that's not what you want to do in this situation. And yeah, denying the berries here. The wood line's going to get denied as well.
Yeah, this is absolutely massive from Viper at this point. And it looks like Liereyy is going to tap out. So the first game going over to the Viper. Turns out the Age of Empires 2 skills do indeed transfer across. So there you go, fellas. That is the first game of the series between these two. I don't know about you, Mitoe, but it definitely seemed quite close.
Yeah, I think Liereyy had some really good moves in that game. Like, he had a couple of really good raids, the good pickup with the archers and stuff like that. And overall, like, his early game build was really solid.
Jumping right in right now. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 2 between the Viper and Liereyy. Spawning in on the west side of the map in the color blue, playing as the Abbasid dynasty. It is the one, the only, the Viper. And on the opposite side, who have we got down there, Mitoe?
It is going to be his opponent, Liereyy, one of the best AoE 2 players, now moved to AoE 4, going to be playing as the red English on the right side of the map here. And looks like he's going to be dropping down that that mining camp right away and going to be rushing straight towards an age up.
You know, Mitoe, I am so glad that Abbasid Dynasty was picked here because I actually love the Abbasid Dynasty as a civilization. I've been having so much fun with them on the ladder, and to be able to watch Viper here in his prime, potentially take out one of his fiercest rivals in this first round of the Golden League, it excites me greatly. So let's see what Viper has got in store for us today. But what are your suspicions? Are we going to see 2 TCs? Are we going to see 3 TCs? How many TCs are we going to see out of the Abbasid Dynasty today?
Ooh, I don't think he's going to go for a second TC immediately in this matchup. You always have to be a little bit wary of that longbow rush, getting up those forward towers and stuff like that. You want to make sure you have the units to control that. You don't want to let those towers go up and restrict you and grant that network of castles bonus to all of the English units. So I actually think he's going to stick on 1 TC for a while, wait until he has some kind of advantage, and then go for the second TC.
Right, okay, it makes a lot of sense. Now, when it comes to unit composition, what do you think we're going to be seeing out of him? Because for Liereyy, I can suspect, I'm just going to do some quick math here, but I suspect it will be longbows plus longbows plus longbows, maybe an outpost, and then more longbows. For Viper, though, what do you think we'll see?
It's probably just going to be, economic wing into, like, a horseman opening. Maybe even like a camel archer or 2 to deal with the spearmen that Liereyy might have. And that'll give him a lot of mobility. He can cut off reinforcements, he can raid, and also just like the 2 direct counter units to the units that Liereyy is likely going to make.
Right, okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that composition. By the same token from Liereyy, we can see that he is actually on wood early in this game, obviously dropping down that council hall now. So not going to be opting for a new strategy that we've actually seen out of players where they go for about, I don't know if you've seen this, Mitoe, but they go for this 6, 7, 8 farms in the Dark Age. And it's kind of wild. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have seen that. I mean, it does slow you down a little bit, but you do get a lot of extra food income as your farms are very fast, and they're definitely like a lot cheaper than other civs, and they make the rest of your sheep go a lot further as well. So if you get down a few farms early, you're not going to run out of sheep as early either, and that means you can have more villagers on food for longer, in addition to the little bit of extra income from those improved farms.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It does extend out the life of those sheep, so to speak, even though they're dead. But it extends the length that you can harvest from them. But now we can see that Viper is indeed researching wheelbarrows, so going for a bit of a one-base focus build. Still got villagers on gold at this point in time, probably going to be saving up for that fresh foodstuffs, and then looking to transfer over. We see him now reaching up to that feudal age. Obviously going with the economic wing. Fresh food stuff's about to come in any second. There's the cash in. He drops off the villagers, leaves one on gold. I wonder what he's going to do with that villager. Stable going to be coming down. Take a look at that, Mitoe. So indeed you are correct. Looking to go for an early horseman potentially. Look to counter out his enemy. Obviously when they go for a council hall, it seems very easy to counter that because it's very predictable, isn't it?
Yeah, you can always expect that there's going to be some longbows. And yeah, there is going to be the barracks coming up for Liereyy away, so it is going to be that quick longbow spear push with some forward towers going up. So Viper's going to be doing his best to deny that. And yeah, Horseman going to be coming out immediately before any longbows even hit the field. And Liereyy is going to have potentially a hard time setting up these towers. Archery range is now going to be coming down for Viper. Going to be getting out those archers or those camel archers to deal with the spears as well, and he's going to have a really nice composition here at the start of the game.
And look at this. It's right between the line of sight that is coming out for Liereyy. I think Liereyy will spot it now, potentially. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's right on the edge. He doesn't actually know. I don't think it... Okay, he finally does see it. But I'm sure he could suspect that it's going to come out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Camel Archer coming out here for him. But it does look like he's just going to be sticking with the stock standard Archer. So playing it safe today.
Yeah, the Camel Archer is quite expensive, especially on food. So going into Archers, he can train a few more of them. He can use more food or more wood on that than his food. He doesn't actually have like very safe berries, so maybe he wants to kind of preserve some of those resources in case he needs them later.
Yeah, that's a great point. Obviously, the Abbasid dynasty, a civilization which has got plenty of food resources, though, and on a map like this, Liereyy, it definitely makes sense to be picking them here, just because there's so many more berry patches. Not a lot of people realize that that the Abbasid bonus for berry patches is applied to all of those berry fields that are out there, and you get 5 for each player on this map. Compared to the normal 3 berry patches that are on normal maps. So it's always great to be picking. You can see Liereyy taking us around the map right now. All those berry patches, they are absolutely everywhere. And so that's really why civilizations like the Delhi and the Abbasid dynasty are so strong on this map.
Yeah, they just never really have to transition to farms. As long as they have any map control, they can always grab some more berries. So definitely makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, but now that push going to be coming out. Liereyy looking to try and gain a little bit of a foothold here. I'd love to see whether a villager is coming out to drop down an outpost. It doesn't look like it at this stage. Just going to be sticking with the spear and longbow combo. So one of the things you normally see players do in this position is really try and mass a bit more longbows and push in with the outpost, try and get the outpost pushing, but you can see that he's still yet to gather up any stone for a second town center yet. So Lierey's going to be happy. The longer he keeps him on one town center, the more even the fight is going to be. At least he'll feel that way.
Mm-hmm. And this is the one advantage, or one other advantage to starting with horsemen as well, is Viper can keep up these raids. He can place them in between Lierey's production and his own base to like cut off reinforcements, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's got the scout to spot for the army. Oh. Scout actually gonna get caught though, as centering that stealth forest, didn't spot the spearman early enough, and that's gonna help Liereyy out a little bit, but losing a couple units here.
Yeah, and you can see the damage that's being done already. So villager lead starting to build up for Viper at the moment. He's sitting on about 4 villagers more than Liereyy. So Liereyy on the other side, still getting units picked off by Viper as well. So as you mentioned, obviously the mobility comes out from having these early horsemen. So it means that Liereyy probably needs to wait for about 5 or 6 units before he actually starts to push out, because otherwise they're just going to get so easily picked off. Even though spearmen, just 1 or 2 spears very easily will get picked off. But now we see Viper moving out. He's got 9 villagers out here heading out towards this this berry patch. He's got a couple villagers on stone as well. So second town center potentially coming through. And now we see the archers in the stealth forest going to be trying to find their way through, managing to spot out a couple of those spearmen. The horsemen going to be running to the back line. The spears going to be looking to follow them. And now those reinforcements coming down from the south side. Liereyy getting cleaned up completely here. Beautiful micro coming out from Viper. Just absolutely running rings around him right now, Mitoe.
Yeah, getting completely caught in the stealth forest here. Going to be losing all these units as the longbows are killed off by the horsemen. The spearmen, there's just not enough of them.
I feel like there's not enough of anything right now. It's impressive to me how Viper has got so many units compared to Liereyy. Is this just a consequence of picking up those reinforcements? What was the difference here?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess just, yeah, picking up the reinforcements, applying that pressure, and just Abbasid just kind of have the better eco. Like Liereyy is now, he's on berries and stuff like that rather than on farms. He's not gathering hunts or anything, so he's really got the slower gathering food source, whereas Abbasid, you know, they have that golden age, they have the faster food from the berries, and now farms are finally coming in, but yeah, maybe he just like didn't have the income to make enough units.
Yeah, and this is really, I mean, one of the things that we talked about before this game started, or before this series started, was that Viper was a little bit more on the button when it comes to the meta and understanding the strategies. And here we can see Liereyy starting to struggle. It's 10 minutes in, and he's only got 2 farms down. Now going to be losing a whole bunch of villagers down on these berries as a consequence of not having the farms out. So losing a huge amount of villagers. He's got to wake up. He's fallen asleep at the keyboard right here. Liereyy, where you at, brother? He's down to 23 villagers at this point in time. This looks like good game might get called any second because Liereyy has lost everything.
That is a fatal raid for sure. His economy is absolutely crippled now. And he's trying to apply a little pressure with these longbows, but this just isn't enough.
That was absolute insanity. But yeah, I mean, Viper just demonstrating his complete prowess in this situation. Beautiful identification of when to add that second town center. A lot of lesser players would say, oh, I can add it at 6 minutes, or I can add it at 7 or 8 minutes. Viper really made sure he had enough units out to take down Lierey's forces, guarantee a victory, a small victory in the early stages of the game, and then immediately gets that second town center down. And now he's got that win condition. He's identified it, and now he's just in full throttle heading towards it. Having that second town center up is going to mean that he's moving ahead so much more rapidly on the villager count compared to his opponent. And it's going to mean that Liereyy has to react in more proactive ways, whether it's raids or whether it's Hail Marys, like potentially dropping a second or a third town center himself.
Yeah, Viper looking to be in a great position here. Yeah, just solidifying that lead, as you said, with the second town center. He's not going to be going all in or anything right away. He's just going to bide his time. He knows that it's kind of in Lierey's court. The ball is in Lierey's court. He's got to be trying to do something. Sitting back is not going to be an option for him, and you can see he's moving out in the map. He knows that he's behind. He's lost so many villagers, and the only way he's going to get back into this game is to get a great fight or a great raid, but maybe just not even feeling confident to do that.
Yeah, and what's really tough is right now, Viper's actually looking to go castle behind this as well. He's about to click up. You can see his resources now about to hit 1,200, 600, so beautiful macro coming out from him. At the same time, pushing forward with his units. Very, very dangerous thing to do, and Viper going to be looking to trade out archers against the longbows. Probably not the best decision considering his enemy's got spears, but there's not a lot of spears here. If Viper spots this out, he's going to be able to overwhelm the army once again. Huge amount of horsemen just going to be able to trample down his enemy. Archer's going to be looking to clean up these spears, doing a beautiful job of it. But at the same time, Liereyy somehow manages to hold on from this position. You can see the Viper's actually gone down to 2 military units. Liereyy sitting on 15, and now potential pushes in. He's also researching siege engineering. Is this a potential throw coming in from Viper?
That's exactly what Liereyy needed. Yeah, just too many spearmen there, and Viper maybe just a little bit overconfident with his units. There is a little bit of a window here for sure for Liereyy, but will it be enough? He's got that siege engineering coming in, as you mentioned. It just completed. He's just dropping a ram now. He will be able to attack the second town center, maybe deny the berries and stuff like that, but he's definitely on a very short clock.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But now we see that castle age almost coming through here for Viper. Another raid coming in on the backside of Lierey's base. Viper dropping down a couple more barracks as well. You can take a look in the back of his base now. We'll have a look at how much production he's actually got as he almost hits that castle age. 3 barracks sitting on the front side of this town center. A villager moving up to the front line and just gathering its wood. It's it's finding its place in the world. A second villager coming out as well, so he's looking to add in an outpost. Definitely, he's evolving over the course of this game, it seems, Mitoe.
Yeah, network of castles here is going to be huge. It'll make his army a lot stronger, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to deal with man-at-arms and mangonels. But trying to push in here with the ram, trying to just apply a little bit of pressure. Anytime those villagers go on that ram, he's going to back up to the longbows and pick off those vills. Now Viper's up, man-at-arms are in queue, and I don't think Viper's worried about this at all.
Yeah, you can see that there's not even enough longbows to trade out with the villagers. Typically in this situation, when you're doing a push like this, at least this is something that Don has taught me, Mitoe. He said that ideally, you're not even after the town center. You're just after trading for villagers. So you want to have enough longbows to one-shot a villager. Then that way, when the villagers try and siege down the battering ram, you're going to be able to take them out one by one. But you can see Liereyy doesn't even have enough longbows to do that. So bit of an unfortunate spot. Now Viper going to be able to clean up. Does a bit of a fade away as he fires off the torches and jumps back inside the town center. He gets 10 points for style. That's for sure.
Yeah, some very solid defense from Viper there. Really no risk of that town center going down. And yeah, now 6 men-at-arms out. There's going to be 9 out soon. He's soon going to have the resources, potentially to drop down that mangonel. And yeah, how do you come back as Liereyy from this position?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I honestly don't know if it's possible when you're playing up against someone like TheViper. Just simply because he's so safe, he's so sound, he's never going to make these big mistakes. Obviously, we do see villagers up towards the north. If Liereyy spots this out, then there is a potential threat. But you can see that he's down 25 villagers at this point in time, and it's not pretty.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing here, trying to restrict the resources, but I don't think he's even scouted the berry patch on the north, which, yeah, as you said, would be a huge raid. But yeah, 1 mangonel out now. It outranges the outpost. I don't think the outpost even has arrow sets on it yet, though. And yeah, Viper just going to play it slow and safe, build up that siege mass, build up those men-at-arms, and then probably just push for a potential win.
The mangonel here is very smart from Viper. It's almost like the mangonel, in my opinion, is almost like a guaranteed victory. There's no real way that Liereyy can actually push Viper from that position. So now Liereyy is sort of in this tough position of choosing what he wants to do. We can see he's actually managing to take out villagers, trying to do a little bit of split micro here, or just trying to draw attention away, managing to take out a number of villagers here. So just being very pesky, being annoying. But now Viper going to be looking to do some counter raiding as he comes down towards the south side of the map. But yeah, the big thing for me at this point in time is I don't think there's anything Liereyy can do in the feudal age. And if you look at the resources that he's got right now, it doesn't seem like he's ever going to be able to get out of it.
Yeah, he's building a market now. It's not really going to help him age, he just doesn't have enough resources, but yeah, in feudal age with no stables or anything, deal with the mangonels. Yeah, he really needs to get castle age, but he really, at the same time, can't afford to. It's just too expensive. It's going to hurt his military mass too much. And yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
That's a forward keep.
Yeah, that's it's not looking pretty right now for Liereyy. Viper is definitely going for the kill. You can see the way the villagers are moving through. It looks like they should be blocked off there, but they are not. They've found a way. If there is a will, there is a way. But gonna just start by dropping down an outpost, get a bit of line of sight built up. But now down towards the base of Liereyy, you can see Viper just doing the classic 2-man-at-arm raids coming through on the back line here. Now Viper also dropping down a whole bunch of siege, getting another mangonel down, another battering ram, and now finally a keep on top of the gold mine for Liereyy, and it's not going to be pretty. We can see that beautiful cinematic mode coming through right now from Liereyy. Looks absolutely gorgeous there, dropping away all the UI elements. Villagers going to be making their way back towards the outpost. Man-at-Arms going to be running amok through the base of Liereyy. Mitoe, I don't think there's anything he can do in this position.
Yeah, there's just no way to deal with these men-at-arms. He just doesn't have the units to deal with it. They're so good against spearmen and longbows. That keep is going to go up on the critical resources, and I think we're going to be seeing the GG from Liereyy any minute now.
He is holding on. It's a valiant hold, but he's up against men-at-arms. Men-at-arms, obviously, much higher armor, much higher attack than the spears coming out. Now we can see the beautiful battering rams, and I gotta say, I absolutely love this perspective that we are getting right now from Liereyy, our observer. So very well done, Liereyy, on that. But now Mangonel going to be coming in as well, looking to finish it off. And it looks like Liereyy taps out. He says, Viper, you've bested me once, you've bested me twice. And, well, this is a best of 3, so you won't be besting me a 3rd time.
Yep, very clean victory going over to Viper. The first game definitely looked like Liereyy was in a good position a couple of times, but this second game, Viper just took him to town. Yeah,
it definitely didn't even look like it was... there was no real point in time where I was concerned for Viper. He always looked like he was doing well, and I think that there's a couple of different aspects to that. Number one is obviously the matchup. Abbasid are an incredibly strong civilization, or at least perceived to be a strong civilization at the moment. And on a map like this as well, it just makes sense to be picking them. So very well played to Viper, and a great draft from him. All right, we'll take a look at these last few pages. You can see there the difference between the killed versus the lost. But now we're back, ladies and gentlemen. It's us. We are back. So we're going to be looking for our next game, our next series. If you've got some suggestions, make sure you throw them in chat. Of course, this is the Golden League, which means that we're only getting started for today. That was our first our first game, our first series. Viper winning 2-0. So ignore that 0-0 on your screen. Mitoe, did you expect Liereyy to put up more of a fight? Were you satisfied with the fight that he put up? The first game looked a little bit better than the second one. I think it was just a consequence of the matchup. Not a pretty matchup.
I would say this is kind of what I expected. Liereyy is just so much newer to the game than Viper. Viper has been playing since the game released, and he's been very successful in tournaments already. So to me, it was kind of like a given that Viper would probably win the series. But overall, I think I was very impressed with Viper's French play, or Liereyy's French play. Sorry, his build order was very clean, and like Viper was just slightly better in that game. It wasn't like a huge amount, but in the second game, it was definitely like you could see the inexperience a little bit. Yeah, overall, I would say not really an unexpected result.